Alright, R32 454. If you've had any experience with any of these installing them, now you know that they've had some ads on these things. Some of them, you know, your air handlers and all of that, they have your sensor inside that you got to pull through and plug in to make sure it's on. They are for, in case you have a leak, that's a leak detection. That's if it senses a leak, when you plug it into that board, what it does, as soon as it senses a leak, it turns on the indoor fan, lets the indoor fan so it can blow the stuff out of the system or circulate it through to dilute what's there from being there. Now, I can say they are going way overboard with what they're doing for what they are, what this Freon is actually the explosion point on this Freon. I think I told y'all before that you can take that Freon and put it in front of a torch and it just makes the torch brighter. That's all it does. It doesn't explode. It's not like taking a can of aerosol and sticking a lighter in front of it. It doesn't do that. But there is, you know how the government is. If there is any chance of anything, they go 10 steps out more than what they need to do to raise the cost on something. That's really what they're doing. And for mandates. On these, you've got those sensors that plug in. Make sure we're plugging those in. If you don't, they won't come on anyway, most of the time. But on let's talk about mobile homes and gas furnaces. Alright, they're not going to, well, the new gas furnaces will, the old won't. If we do an install on a gas furnace, and we're changing the coil and leaving the existing gas furnace, there's a chance we do that. We've done that before. Mm-hmm. The old one does not have sensors built into it for the R32 and the 454. The mobile homes don't, furnaces don't have that built into them. So they send us a box called the Dragonfly.
That's soldered into the line set?
No, this actually plugs in. There's a sensor you mount, you plug it in, and then you take your wires from your unit and stuff and tie them. There's some Molex plugs in there, and then there's a plug down here for the sensor to plug into. It's called a Dragonfly. It's a little black box. Matter of fact, I might have a picture.
Is that what you had me?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let me quit, man. Damn. Alright, if you open that black box, it looks like this. Alright, the little blue plug at the bottom is where your sensor and stuff plugs into. And what this does, it does the same thing as the board does. Once it senses a leak, a refrigerant leak, it automatically shuts the unit down and turns the fan on. Continuous fan unless it blows. That's what it does. On the old furnaces, these you're going to have a green plug and you're going to have a black plug, Molex plug. If you look at the plug itself, right beside the black one, it says, or on top it says thermostat. The other one is your equipment. All right. So when you wire these in to a mobile home, this is the black one. Your wires coming from the thermostat are going to wire to this plug. And if you zoom in on it, on the other side, it'll have your terminals marked as just like they are on the thermostat. But you'll wire your thermostat to the black plug. The green one is for your equipment. You're going to bring your air handler and your condensing unit into this green plug and wire it to the green plug. There's going to be a couple of screws that you might have two wires under the same screw, but that's the way they've designed these so far. Okay. When you get these wired and turn them on, what you need to do is let it run and then go over here and pull this is the sensor that you're going to mount that comes in there. Go in there and pull this blue pin off the board. When you do, that simulates a leak. When you pull that pin, it should shut the air conditioning and all that down and let the continuous fan run. If it does not shut that system down, then something's not wired right. Now it's going to come with an install manual, and in that install manual it gives you about 6 different installation instructions. those are for your newer systems, and it's gonna say gas furnace, this and that. Those are for your newer systems. It does not have a wiring schematic for mobile homes, and it does not have your wiring schematic for your gas furnaces that you need on your existing ones. But it does for your newer ones if you had one like that. I went through it, I met with the guy, the manufacturer, me and him talked about it twice. You're gonna need to make sure that you can remember how this is. The one that's for thermostats, thermostat only. The other with the green wire, the green plug is for your equipment. Wire your equipment to it. Start your system up. Make sure that when you, before you leave, you pull that plug and test the system to make sure it's gonna do what it needs to do.
That sensor.
If you're not, you're gonna have a problem. You're either gonna have continuous fan running and it never shut off, and it won't start the system up, or it starts the system up, and then when it cycles off, the fan just won't cut off. Just make sure that it is, when you plug it back in, everything shuts down and the fan shuts off, okay?
And that sensor just mounts anywhere around the evaporator core, right?
That's right, that's right. Now, there is another one that we hadn't done one yet. If we add an R32 system to an existing zone system, there is another board that they're gonna send that's gotta be tied to the zone system. What it does is if it senses a leak, it opens all dampers and turns the fan on. So it can circulate that stuff out of that system and just dilute it into the air.
Would we have to change the zone board too, or no?
No, it wires to the zone boards, or made to wire to the existing zone boards, and they send a command to open all dampers and turn on the fan.
No compatibility issues.
Not as of yet that we have, that they have seen. They say, but you know how that goes, that it will wire to any brand zone board that there is, and they will operate.
Open up that one.
So
Yeah.
it's gotta be between the zone board and.
It's got, you're gonna mount it in there, mount the sensor in the air handling, or the evaporator, you gotta get a wire from there back to that board that you're gonna install, and then from that board to the zone board.
But what terminal are we attaching it in the zone board to?
That way, I don't know that until we get the thing in. We ain't done one yet, but that board's there. I won't know that until you look at the install manuals. I don't have that answer yet.
We're, like in a mobile home, where are we mounting this Dragonfly?
Anywhere down there in the compartment, down there around.
It's right in front of the blower,
Yeah,
next to the wire.
anywhere down there, you know how your thing
That's the
slides
wire?
off and you got that flat section, I'd wire it right
Yeah,
there.
that wire comes right up from out of the unit, so it has to be right next to the wire. You can connect
Oh,
it to
so
the
right
unit.
there, right
Yeah.
on top of that little electrical panel.
Just
But
remember
skip,
about drains on mobile homes, you don't want that water falling.
Just to add.
Well, that's what I'm worried
just to
about.
add to the sensor, because
It's got a cover that goes on it, guys.
I was
Oh,
reading,
black cover.
I was reading through that manual, with that unit, just couple, so they know. For one, when the system is installed, all the wires connected, you gotta connect the sensor before you turn the power on. Because it's specified that do not connect it with the power on. It's under no circumstances. After you put the sensor on it, then you start it. Then you pull it to activate the test. And then after you see it shut off the outdoor unit, fan going, he said, kill the power again, put it back.
Well, there's no way, there's no reason for us to have activated the power on the system until we get it all wired in anyway. We
Right.
should never activate it till we're ready to start everything up.
I mean, the sensor mounted and
So,
everything.
everything, we shouldn't turn that on.
I understand what Brian's saying.
And then-
I see myself doing that.
And then
Plugging it back
no,
in and
because
make
I'm
sure it
telling you,
works.
because there was one install that did happen, and everything was working except for the fan wouldn't shut off.
Fan won't shut off.
Then what the manual said, which I don't know, you tell me, they talked to the guy, I was reading it. It's saying if the system have cooling, heating, emergency heat, it says you need to go through each setting. So go to the thermostat, put it in heat mode. Then once you activate the heat, the condenser kicks on, the fan kicks on, you pull it,
Well, you're supposed to test it in all function,
all
yes.
function.
But we need to get to the first point is test it, period. Getting into what's going on for it to happen. All right, gas furnaces. Same as mobile homes, they're gonna wire like this. Your existing gas furnaces. Now, the new gas furnaces got shutdowns in them. You got your sensor that comes off your cord that you're gonna mount in your cord, and it's gonna come out and plug in just like it does on an air handler. Okay?
Dragonfly is just pretty much for the older style units.
Dragonflies for anything that is going in existing in a mobile home, right now, because mobile homes don't have shutdowns in them. We leave an existing air handler, if we leave an existing gas furnace, if we leave an existing, or we have a mobile home furnace, they're gonna wire with the Dragonfly. You are in a mobile home or any unit, and we were running a wire through a metal hole. There should not be bare wire laying on a metal, up against metal anywhere. Because that unit's running and it's vibrating. And that metal's gonna cut through that wire and you're gonna short it out. Whether it's the sensor or power wire or anything, if you gotta go through a hole that is not made for a Romex connector or something to go through, you need to protect your wire, even if it's cut you a piece of Carflex to go over your wire to go through there, to where it's laying on Carflex to go in there. Alright? Don't ever run a wire through a metal hole, whether it's round, square, triangle, octagon, anything. If it's going through a hole without a connector, it's gotta have protection on it. Cause that fan is running and it's vibrating. And it will, who was just at a, that was you, he was just at a unit Thursday or Friday. Wires coming off the compressor,
Oh, yeah.
laying across the copper line. It shorted out. That line was laying there, and that little vibration in that unit over a period of time ate the jacket off that wire. And finally the wire got copper, and guess what happened? Luckily it didn't blow a hole in the
That's
copper.
what I told him. I
But
told him,
it-
look at it, blow a hole in that cover.
But you could see where it made connection with that copper, and it shorted out and all of that. So just be careful.